Hello and welcome to the theater of Fusta 2005. Yes, we are finally doing this video. Sorry it's taken a while. I know I mentioned that I was going to do it after the Super Bowl earlier in February, but with the amount of traveling we've done and our family being sick here and there and the current state of affairs in the world, we've just been kind of busy. So yeah, it's been kind of an interesting couple of months now, but here we are. So let's kind of do an overview of the setup here, and we can then go on to do a one-by-one review of the individual components of my theater here. So as we're standing here, we're looking at an 82-inch Samsung OLED 4K television. The camera does not do it justice. It's quite a good picture. There are obviously better options out there, but for the money, this is pretty good. We have a 5.1 surround sound system hooked up to a Sony 7.2 capable receiver. And the reason we went with a 5.1 to start was, again, cost, and for the size of the room, which is about a 10 by 15 room here. We had to, I figured it was plenty of sound, and I was right. I mean, I don't even have to turn this up to, the receiver can go up plenty high, and we generally keep it about 15 to 20. If 20 if we want to really, feel the movie. So and this room is actually insulated. When we built our house, we had to insulate this room, expecting it to be a theater, and at 20 you can't even hear it upstairs, which is nice because we generally put our kids to bed in the early evening, and then we'll sometimes come down here and watch a movie, and we don't have to worry about, we've definitely checked. And in the beginning we were like, hey, we need to turn the TV down, we're trying to keep the kids asleep, but yeah, even at level 20, which is booming for this room, you can't hear it upstairs, so it's very good. The difference in an insulated room being that it's generally cooler in the summer and hotter in the winter. Or maybe it's opposite. Anyway, the temperature is definitely different than the rest of the house because it's an insulated room. And there's only one HVAC vent going in, so you get more than 2, 3, 4 people in here, it starts getting warm. So that's a nice thing in the wintertime, not so much in the summer. But yeah, so let's get started, and I'll go through our individual components. Here we are looking at the main item in the theater. In any theater, it's either going to be a television or a projector. I did consider going with a projector, and in this case it would have had to have been a short throw projector, probably sitting down on the table there. But we ultimately went with the TV based on the fact that it's usually brighter. The space in here, it's only an 8-foot ceiling, so I would have to hook it up to the ceiling, and it's going to be down another foot, and I'm 6'4", and that's just too close to my head. So we went with the television. Like I said, it's a Samsung 82-inch OLED. It is the Q60 series. It was the 2019 version. I think they've come out with a new version since then. As I can see from, I bought all of my components from Best Buy. They were the best priced, also the fastest to put it in. I could have used a sound company here in town that specializes in AV equipment, but I did get a quote from them, and they weren't going to be able to get it into me for 6 months at the time. And this was last June. I was starting to look at things, and I was like, yeah, probably not. And it took forever for them to get the quote to me, so I ultimately went with Best Buy's in-home advisor option, and the dude Mike, he set me up pretty good, got me what I wanted, gave me a few options. I actually changed some of the components based on, you know, our financial situation at the time, and saving up for this. It's generally been my dream to have an in-home theater, so I have a lot of work to do right now. This isn't the final product, but yeah, so you're looking at the 82-inch, the biggest Q60 that they had last year. At this point in time, it is $1,000 less than I paid for it last year, which means that they probably have a new version out right now, since we've had Consumer Electronics Show. CES 2020 has already happened in January, thankfully, because after that we can't do anything or visit anyone. But yeah, it is a 4K. Obviously, they do have different series. You can go all the way up to a Q900, which is an 8K. There just isn't the content for 8K, so and I really can't tell a whole lot of difference. Yeah, it's probably a clearer picture, but for what we're doing, what we're using it for, 4K, 82-inch, I'm plenty happy. We had a very good Super Bowl party. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We have it mounted on the wall there, and all the wires are hidden behind the wall. Best Buy took care of all the installation and everything you're going to see today, including hiding wires and making sure the remotes are set up. Yeah, I mean, if you have something going on that you want to make a home theater, I would highly recommend Best Buy as as the company to use for your AV experience. Obviously, different stores, you might have different experiences, but in my case, I would highly recommend the Home Advisor team and the installation team from Best Buy. Alright, up next we have the Sony 7.2 channel with Dolby Atmos compatibility, 4K Ultra HD, audio video home theater receiver. It's done the job. It has the power to run the up to 7.2 system. Right now, as I mentioned earlier, we have it hooked up to a 5.1 surround sound system. 5 means that you have 5 speakers, and the 0.1 or 0.2 is based off of how many subwoofers you have. While I would love to have 2 subwoofers, I don't think this room needs it. The current one, I mean, I haven't tried it out, but you know, for the size of the room, 5.1 surround sound system is fine. I might go up to a 7.1 just because I want to get the full Dolby Atmos experience. That's to be determined at a later date, but yeah, this thing makes your standard sound bar sound uncomparable, like insignificant by comparison. Like there's light and day difference between, say, my POLK sound bar system, which I don't think I ever reviewed, but it's good for what it is. But the 5.1 surround sound system with this receiver is you know, 10 if not more times better than just the surround sound system with a sound bar. So you know, if you can do it, I would recommend getting a receiver. There's lots of different ones in the market. We chose this one again for its price and its power capability, the amount of amps that it could take. For example, this one in particular, it has 145 watts of power. It's got 4K and 3D pass-through. So anything you connect to it, like for instance our Fire TV is a 4K, the 4K version stick, the 4K stick. So everything is in 4K, which is good. If there's anything in particular that you have questions about, I do have the specifications on everything. It does have 4 HDMI inputs, I believe. We're using all but one. I have a Blu-ray player, which we'll look at in a little bit. My Fire Stick. The Apple TV, that's the other one. The 4K Apple TV. Pardon my cat's interference there. Does have a headphone jack. You can hook up an FM tuner to it. It's got Bluetooth, so you can hook up your phone if you want to listen to music. We don't really do that. All we do is watch movies with it. It does have other capabilities. So let's move on to the next thing. Alright, next up we have the POLK Audio 6.5-inch two-way floor standing loudspeakers. This is a pair, so it does come in a pair. It's currently about $109. Something I didn't mention about the receiver was that it's currently about $300. Obviously, anybody who wants to comment about it, there's a whole lot better systems out there. This is perfect for our situation. Everybody's a little bit different, but if you're starting out, this is probably the price range you're going to be looking at. So, if you're an audiophile, which I am not, I like good sound, but I don't really hear the minute details as much. This is plenty for what we're using it for. And like I said, I'm probably going to update to a better speaker system based on the same company that did our ceiling speakers. These ones in particular, the POLK ones, they're the T50 series. They're the basic. They actually came out with their signature series, I think, which are right up there with pricing with the all number of high-end theater systems. So these are your basic ones. They were, like I said, $100 for the pair. Let's see, we got. It's a two-way speaker system, so it's not. There's three-way ones. There's better ones out there. If you have any other questions, these are 150 watts of power, so they can get pretty loud. They don't buzz. They don't very much. Obviously when you have the receiver on and everything, you can kind of hear. A little bit of a hum, but the amount of ringing in my ears from working in the construction field for a number of years and being a firefighter EMT, I can't really hear it. So it does good for me. But yeah, they're not very tall. They don't take up a whole lot of space. There's probably about 2 feet of space in between the console there and the wall, and yeah, I could probably get away with getting something taller or wider, but yeah, that's pretty much it about the floor speakers there. Let's move on to the center speaker. Alright, for our center speaker, we still went with POLK Audio. All the front speakers here, including the subwoofer, are going to be POLK Audio. It's the POLK Audio dual two-way a dual 5.25 speaker, two-way center channel loudspeaker. It's also $100 just for the center speaker. It doesn't have a pair or anything. Like it mentioned, it has two 5.25 drivers. It's a 100-watt maximum power. So it sounds plenty fine for this room. If you have any other questions about it, let me know. And here's the boom box of the theater. We have the POLK Audio PSW Series 10-inch active subwoofer. This thing has 100 watts peak power, so if we hooked up two for a 5.2 surround sound system, it would be 200 watts total of subwoofer power. And I don't think we need that much in here. Like it says, it's a 10-inch active subwoofer. You can actually, it's front firing, flared port. You can adjust the individual volume of the subwoofer. For me, I like to have it on the high end, but it takes some fine tuning for the specific room you're in. All of these speakers, you have to kind of tune them. Actually, and the receiver actually does the tuning for you for the speakers, so that's cool. It has a little setup that you can do that on. And yeah, I mean, sitting on the couch here right behind me, which is fairly close to the floor, yeah, depending on the movie, I can feel it. It is concrete underneath us right now. We're in the basement, so it's it kind of mutes it a little bit, being concrete. I mean, I could put it on a box or something and make it a little bit louder, but I mean, when you're sitting right in front of it, you can feel the waves hitting you from the subwoofer, so it's pretty good. Yeah, and now let's go look at the ceiling speakers. Hey, here we are looking at our ceiling speakers. These are the Bowers & Wilkins 6-inch two-way in ceiling speaker. And this was kind of our splurge for the theater because it's something that, you have to cut a hole in the ceiling and you're not going to find a speaker that fits that particular spot sometimes. And I really wanted something that was going to be good for my, if I'm going to be if it's going to be an installation thing, and I'm going to be hitting the back of my head because these are my rear speakers. So these are $300 each. Not for a pair. These are $300 each. So like I said, this is a splurge. They actually do have, I don't think I can get it right now, but these are magnetic. All right. Yep. You have to get a little tool to get into it, but they do have an adjustable tweeter that you can kind of aim at wherever you're going to be sitting. So we have it set up looking at the couch, as you could see from the first bit of the video. These are really good. These are actually the brand that I would like to get the front speakers and subwoofer. But if you go and look at Bowers & Wilkins, I did a lot of different sound tests with Bose and of course POLK and Bowers & Wilkins. These are a Magnolia. I don't know if you're familiar with Best Buy. They have the Magnolia series of everything, and that's actually what our TV is, as well as the Magnolia version or specific. So it just means it's basically more expensive. Is what it means to your checkbook, but it's specifically tuned for home theater setups and etc. etc. But Bowers & Wilkins, definitely the way to go as far as sound. It plays well with the Polk, obviously, but you know, at the end of the day, I'd really like to get Bowers and Wilkins all throughout my theater system. As far as specifications, it's got two 6-inch glass fiber woofer cones in the ceiling there, pivoting, like I said, pivoting tweeter design, so you can adjust it to, there's different settings depending on where you're sitting in the room. Obviously, you can, it's a two-way speaker system, you can mount, they're made to mount in the ceiling, and it's 130 watt per speaker of power. So, I mean, it's pretty significant. You gotta play with it a little bit on the receiver to adjust how much volume you got. But yeah, it's, I like it. I like them. And, you know, as far as Bowers and Wilkins go, like I said, that's kind of the way I want to go. If and when we go to a 7.2, I'm going to get two side speakers that are Bowers and Wilkins, and then the front speakers, the two towers and the middle speaker, I'm also wanting to do Bowers and Wilkins. So yeah, let's wrap things up. Alright, we're getting ready to wrap things up here. Yeah, this is my theater. If you have any questions about any of the components, even about the how we have internet set up here, as you can see, the little tiny tower just to the right of the middle speaker there is my Linksys Velop mesh Wi-Fi system. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, I do have a video on my channel. A couple months back, I did an unboxing and review of it. It's done a pretty good job so far. I probably will have to get another tower to fill in a little bit of a dead spot in my room, in my house. I mean, but I mean, for what it does it very well. And you know, like I said, I'm gonna try to. Eventually, I'm going to update to a 7.1, at least a 7.1. Maybe if you guys, you know, convince me in the comment section, maybe I'll go for another subwoofer and make it a 7.2. But that's going to be a work in progress, saving up for some other things that I'm going to be presenting on the channel that I will be purchasing very soon. Yeah, and another thing, we're going to be updating the seating situation here. I would like to get an actual theater set up, maybe with a tiered seating system. It's looking like I can only fit 3 wide in here, maybe 2. You know, right now that's a love seat in here, so that's not even a full couch. But we do have some additional space back behind this camera that I can put some seating. So it's gonna be a work in progress. I'll post when I get some new things. It's not gonna be soon. We're very comfortable with what we have, and right now it's just my wife and I that watch movies in here, and you know, we can bring in some of the patio chairs and chairs from around the house to bring in for our Super Bowl party. That's kind of what we did last month, and I also had that projector that I reviewed earlier at the end of January, I believe. So you can check that out as well. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. And finally, a theater wouldn't be a theater without dimmable lights. So we'll see you next time.